Salut! We're back with a new mystery. This is called The Roottrees Are Dead. So I think this is a mystery that where you use entirely done on a search engine. I think you have to use the game's internet to solve the mystery. I don't know anything else about this game other than it got really, really good reviews and it involves a family. Let's get started, guys. The Roottrees are dead. The mystery begins here. Roottree Mania. This mystery will unlock once you finish The Roottrees Are Dead. Okay. Well. Okay. That is a very old Windows icon. Like, very old. December 6, 1998.
The plane that crashed last night just outside of Pittsburgh is now known to have been the private jet of the Roottree Corporation. Local aviation authorities have speculated, based on the pilot's final communication, that the winter storm and heavy winds played a significant role in the crash. On board were multiple family members, including corporate president Carl Roottree and his daughters, the Roottrie sisters, best known for their fashion lines and modeling careers. There were no survivors. Again, for those of you just joining us, the Roottrees are dead.
We have our title. Okay.
I know it's late, but I'm guessing you've seen the news. In addition to dealing with the grief, the Roottree Company's lawyers are scrambling. Everything's about to change. Anyone proven to be a blood relative is about to get much richer. I'm here to ensure everyone is accounted for. I've heard you're an expert at sorting out complicated family trees. A genealogy genie, as it were. I'm going to give you a quick test. Pass, and I can promise you the job of a lifetime.
Oh, complete the family tree of the Roottrie sisters. Siblings are in birth order. Examine my evidence, search the internet for clues, fill in the names, fill in the occupations, fill in the photos. Okay. Alright, hold on one second. What, evidence? Got milk picture, list of names. The person who hired you gave you this photo with a note attached. This was taken during the shoot for the Roottree Sisters Got Milk ad. I've tracked down a test photo from before they painted the fake mustaches on, which I thought would be more appropriate considering the circumstances. The ad's copy reads, "You might recognize our faces from the magazine you're reading, or you might recognize our name from the candy bar you're eating. Being a root tree is a full-time job, but so is growing up. That's why the calcium found in milk is so important. Plus, you can't make chocolate without it." Okay, so I actually remember the Got Milk. The Got Milk ads were actually a thing in the 90s. Like, they were big. Like, you had big celebrities that would do these Got Milk photo shoots. And basically, it would be the celebrity, and then they put on a fake milk mustache, and it would just say Got Milk on there. So that was a real thing, actually. And that's a very nice photo. Oh my gosh, she's dressed just like Cher from Clueless. If you've never seen Clueless, that came out in, what was it? Was it 96? If you've never seen Clueless, you should watch it. So it's a 1990s movie that is basically a modern adaptation of Jane Austen's Emma. It's very, very good. Okay, wait. I need to stop talking. We need to look. What is this? Okay. This list was provided to you by the mysterious person who showed up at your door. You need it to fill the family tree. Okay. So we have a bunch of female names. That is a lot of names. Okay, here's some men's names. Okay. Didn't it say the father's name? Was it Carl? Wasn't Carl the father's name? Alright. So this is the family tree board. So these are going to be each of the sisters. We're going to have to categorize them. Search the internet for clues. Okay, what does the welcome text say? Welcome to the information superhighway. Thanks for purchasing a new Cashew PC. Your PC is equipped with a 56K modem, which is fast enough to access any site on the World Wide Web, even those with high-resolution images. If you find anything interesting, be sure to print it out when your included high-end color laser printer or burn a music CD to listen to later. If you want to visit a search result, be sure to use Netscape. Netscape was an actual thing, so this is a play on Netscape explores new history feature. Happy surfing, and remember, Cashew PCs are delicious. Cashew PCs are inedible. Do not try to eat your computer. Okay, let's look at the internet. Oh my gosh, I remember this sound. Dial-up internet was hell. You could not. It was awful. It was awful, but it was all we had. Okay, here's a spider search. Okay, pro tech, you can create notes quickly by highlighting text with your mouse. Alright, so what happens if I type in... Can you type in full things, or do you just type in like one word? What happens if I type in a full sentence? There are a lot of obituaries that focus on the Roottrees sisters' modeling careers. You also come across an unofficial Roottree fan site seemingly curated by a teenager. It's neon pink with purple text and hard to read until you highlight the words. The young webmaster writes, Raina is the most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS. Okay, hold on one second. Hey, don't discount those fan websites, because let me tell you, fandoms in the 90s, they were crazy. Like, crazy. Like, you talk about parasocial, like the amount of detail. Never discount a fan website from the 90s. Alright, let me get my pen. I should have started this game prepared. What am I doing? Okay. So we have Raina is the eldest. Okay. And got married to TMS. Okay. But Riley is the smart one. Rose is the middle child like me. Okay, that tells us a lot right there. Okay, those are what are pretty names. Raina, Rose, and Riley. With pretty names. You might think they're rich just because they are models, but their dad is also the president of a candy company, and their mom, Brenda, is a fashion manager. They do modeling for the brand Root. Oh my gosh, this is telling me so much. Okay. I eat Roottree candy all the time. My favorite are maple crisps. And try to dress in plaid Root. Clothes like Riley does in most of the posters. Someday I want to get my ears pierced like Rose. Okay, so we know Rose has her ears pierced, so we can be able to identify her. Oh, I'm sorry. Rose is the one that gets her ears pierced. I'm sorry. I think I said. And then Riley likes to wear plaid. Okay. The website author continues to talk about her own life and what she likes about Root fashion lines, but none of it is relevant. Look at that. We already got like a ton of information. Never discount those fan sites. Okay. So let's see. What candy company? I don't know what the name of the candy company is. I was going to try to find the father's name. Well, let's look up the Root clothing brand. What if we just type in Root? Root is a pretty common word. Clothing company Root always has a period in it, even if it's not at the end of the sentence. Okay, so what happens if we put the Root? The period is part of the name is the clothing company. They make clothes for children, from toddlers to teenagers. Although their website is down, likely due to increased web traffic, you find countless retail sites attempting to advertise their clothes towards the target audience. One of them has this to say, you spied the Roottree sisters looking hella fly on catalogs, magazines, and posters. Now you too can be like Riley, Rose, or Raina. You also come across a website from collector of clothing catalogs. Apparently, Root has released 2 catalogs per year every year since 1984. And Raina appears in almost all of them. There's only one that the webmaster considers a collector's item enough to mention. It seems that Brenda Roottree, the Roottree sisters' mother and Root's head designer, appeared on one cover holding her daughter Rose in 1985. The site says it's the only time her daughter was ever listed with her birth name, Carly Roottree. Okay, I feel like that's kind of significant. Did they say we could highlight something? I feel like this is significant. Highlight. Okay. Okay, so Rose's real name. Alright. What happens if I type in her name? Carly. You discover a trivia page that lists common trick questions. The answer to what are the first names of the famous Roottree girls lists the answer Raina, Carly, and Riley. The explanation below the answer states that Rose was originally born Carly Rose Roottree. Apparently, her parents had planned to name a son Carl Roottree Jr., but after finding out they were having a second daughter, they called her Carly. Sometime in the early 90s, and now preteen Carly strongly suggested her dislike that her sisters had RH names, and she was the odd one out. That's when she began to go by her middle name. Okay, so Carl is the name of the father. Carl. Okay. That would make sense. Alright, what else? So what happens if I type in Carl Roottree? Carl Roottree died in a recent plane crash along with his wife Brenda Roottree and their daughters, the Roottree sisters. He was president of the Roottree Candy Company as well as the clothing company Root, which he co-founded with his wife. According to news sites, the Roottree Candy Company plans to put out a press release sometime within the hour to address the absence of Carl, the crash, and questions they have been receiving. Once you finish placing the Roottree sisters on the family tree, it would be wise to repeat this search. Yeah, I wish there were ways to bookmark your searches, but can you print these? They said something about printing. So, Carl, president of Roottree Candy Company. This probably isn't important, but he's also president of Root, which is, what was it, for toddlers and teenagers? Toddlers to teenagers. That's sad that a whole family died in a car crash. Alright, let's see what we can find on Brenda. You stumble across an auction for a black and blue dress that's Brenda White Original. The auction describes it as a vintage dress from before Brenda became Brenda Roottree and started designing clothes for Root. The white and gold dress itself doesn't seem relevant to search. No, but Brenda White Original is. So Brenda Roottree was originally Brenda White. Okay. Alright, so I need to find photos. I guess that's what I need to find. So let's try Raina Roottree. There are a lot of obituaries that focus on the Roottree sisters' modeling careers. You come across an unofficial Roottree fan site seemingly curated by a teenager. Okay, we've already seen this. Now, what am I supposed to do with these names? I guess it's just everybody that's claiming that they're related. Alright, let's see if it'll tell me. What do I need to do? Okay. Right. What was the age? Right. Right. I know all this. But I need to know, like, how do I... Oh, I got a picture. Right? Is that... Okay, hold on one second. Ah! Okay. Alright, I don't know what I did, but I somehow did it. Okay, so... I need... Raina is the eldest. So she won't wear plaid or have her ears. Who's the one that wears plaid? That would be Rayleigh. That's gonna be... Or, I'm sorry, Riley. She's a model. I am spelling it right. Okay, so now I need to look at the... Alright, she's the one that's got her ears pierced. Okay, so the ears pierced is Rose, the middle sibling. Okay. Rose, aka Carly. Okay. So... Oh, it'll be Carly. Okay, model. Unless they do anything else, but I've only ever heard them mention as well. So then that leaves one more. Alright. So she has to be... What's the other one? Riley, Rose, Raina. Raina. All right. Okay, sorry guys. It took me a second to get my bearings. All 3 entries are correct and have been locked. All right. You have also locked the following optional entries. None. Booyah.
Sorry to test you, but I had to be sure you could use the internet. Some folks refuse to get with the times. Safe to say, you're hired.
Woo.
The reward for untangling the family tree is substantial. Life-changing, even. But here's the catch. The Roottrees go way, way back. The family tree's a bit daunting. Most people freak out the first time they see the whole thing. But I'm sure you'll be fine. The man who started it was particular about whom he considered family. For your purposes, you only need his direct blood relatives. Anyone related only by marriage is optional, but filling them in can lead to useful discoveries. Lastly, you now have access to some unique websites, plus a list of notable Roottrees. Notable people are easy to find via your search engine, and marked with stars on the family tree. I'm off for now. Carl Roottree had a lot in his office. I'll look for anything useful. I'll return once you identify 6 more blood relatives.
Okay. Easy peasy. We got this.
Sorry, one last thing. This might sound odd, but if anyone else claiming to represent the Rootrees reaches out, I'd appreciate you not mentioning I was here. Thank you, and good luck.
All right. Oh. Oh. Okay, wow. All right. Let's take a look. So wait, I've got more evidence, do I not? Hold on. Show marketing items. Okay. This is an advertisement for 5 pieces aimed at kids from the magazine Teen Blast. It mentions that 5 pieces were named as such because the original creator had 5 children. The ad also mentions that the current 5 flavors are not the same as back then. Because it's no longer the... Wait, what was this? You've been in this line of work a long time. So long, in fact, you developed a sixth sense for how useful your evidence can be. The numbers in the magnifying glass refer to how many clues are connected to a specific piece of evidence. The higher the number, the more there is to find. At the start of your search, the notables list sets off alarm bells, a list of famous people that you can find via a search engine. That's pretty rare to get something that useful. Best take advantage of it. As you progress, these numbers will change. Whenever you find more evidence or lock in family members, new discoveries will be added to the list and old evidence will become less useful. Trust your intuition. If a piece of evidence seems too good to be true, take a closer look at the people or phrases it mentions. Often the most satisfying revelations come from retracing a path you thought was fully explored, armed with a new perspective. Sometimes the reason certain evidence has such a high value is because it can lead to finding more evidence. You may be missing a huge piece of the puzzle. Okay, so this says 11. I was trying to move this so I could read what it says. I think it says the 1920s. What even is elderberry anyway? There's 5 flavors because the original creator had 5 kids. I think that's probably the most important thing, so... Okay, my notes are always super disorganized. I then have to go back later and reorganize them so they make sense. But I'm just trying to I have ADHD, so my stuff goes everywhere. And then I have to piece it all together later. Okay. All right, I don't know. I don't think the flavors have any significance. It's just the fact that there's 5. Okay, so what is the other... Okay. This is a list of notable root trees. The person who hired you gave you this list and said everyone on it should be found easily via your search engine. Okay. Red Roottree, Jim Roottree, Lauren Roottree, Miracle Jr. Any entry on the family tree that belongs to someone on this list will be marked with a star. Notable root trees will be crossed out after they are verified and locked. Okay, this says 35. Alright. The Roottree sisters and their parents died in a plane crash on December 6, 1998. The next evening, a shadowy figure appeared at your door and said the lawyers were looking to sort out the family tree. After a quick test, the figure gave you access to some resources. This included a list of notable Roottrees who said they would be easiest family members to place. They said they would return in the time it took to fill out 6 more blood relatives. Okay. Alright. Oh, look, they've actually got the names here. Now, there was somebody on the list that said Gwen. Okay. Well, we know that Elias founded the company. And we know they had 5 kids. You can open this envelope after the whole family tree has been filled in. It has 2 names that must be typed in manually. The clues are obscure, have been intentionally hidden in the past, and may even require some leaps in logic. Try to keep an eye out for any inconsistencies. Alright. Now look, we know... Yes, was it... Raina is the eldest and married to TMS. Do we have anyone here that has the initial TMS? We have a Thomas Sheridan. Let's find out who Thomas Sheridan is. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. I apologize. We have a public library access. That could come in handy. TMS is a common abbreviation for early 90s teen heartthrob Tommy Mark Sheridan. His first credited role as Thomas Sheridan was on a soap opera called Time Marches Onward. He skyrocketed to popularity after a starring role on the sitcom Brother Trouble. Since the end of Brother Trouble, he has often been on the cover of tabloids for his supposed drug use, and more recently his relationship with Raina Roottree. After a short engagement, they married in 1997, when she was only 19 and he was 23. Okay. What was it? What was the cover of that magazine that had the baby? Was it 84, 85? All right. So TMS is Thomas Mark Sheridan. Let me just put down some information. Okay. I feel like this is important. So let's go back over here. There we go. Every time you get 3 additional blood relatives in the family tree completely correct, they will be locked in. All blood relatives and small portraits are optional, but placing them in the tree helps remove extra names and photos. Okay. Alright. What else did they give me? She gave me a list. Hold up. Let's do Carl Roottree. I'm gonna have to turn off this music. It is distracting me. Oh. Carl Roottree died in the recent... I need to turn this music off. I can't handle this. This music is not for me. Oh. Lovely. I can't do that. No. Carl Roottree died in a recent plane crash along with his wife Brenda Roottree and their daughters, the Roottree sisters. He was the president of the Roottree Candy Company as well as the clothing company Root, which he co-founded with his wife. There's a short press release. Okay, hold on one second. You were president of a candy company. Why did you... Well, she was in fashion, wasn't she? And I guess if their daughters are photogenic, it just seemed like a good fit, maybe. There is a short press release that the Roottree camp... Actually, when I think about it, candy and fashion for children, like, it's marketing toward the same demographic. Right. Okay. There's a short press release that the Roottree Candy Company released today to news organizations. December 6, 1998, is with a heavy heart that we mourn the loss of Carl, Brenda, and the Roottree sisters, and the other employees that perished in the terrible tragedy. The entire Roottree family is in shock and requesting privacy at this time. As the head of our company, Carl was an incredible man and an unmatched leader. Feeling his absence will be difficult and may take considerable time. In the interim, we hope that you join us in looking back fondly on Carl and his family's triumphs and accomplishments. They go on to list some of these accomplishments. One of them seems relevant to your search. Like his great-grandfather before him, Carl earned the highly prestigious Watchman of the Year title. Okay. All right. All right, so what was the other... Elias and Gwyneth Roottree. Let's go ahead and look them up. Elias Roottree... Oh, I think it printed something out. Elias Roottree was the founder and first president of the Roottree Candy Company. You find what is essentially a propaganda site about him created by the Roottree Candy Company. At the top, there is a picture of him and his wife, Gwyneth. That picture has been added to your evidence. There is also a biography section that has some additional information. Elias is credited for inventing 5 pieces, a popular maple candy. Before that, the farm he inherited by marrying his wife only produced syrup. After 5 pieces became wildly successful, Elias spent his time and energy on cementing his reputation as a family man. He is quoted on the site as saying, "Blood is thicker than syrup, and that any child linked by blood to me shall be linked by blood to my legacy." The site enthusiastically claims that he made good on that promise, but offers no additional detail. There are a few more quotes about Elias from a book called Family Man, The Roottree Legacy by Bess Williams. To say they are biased is a massive understatement. Below that, there is a long list of accomplishments and awards, and one stands out. Like his great-grandson Carl, Elias was voted Watchman of the Year. Okay, this, I want to see if we can maybe look up that book later. There's still, I know it's biased, but there might still be information. Okay. All right. What was the date? Was it 1930? It's 1920. I don't know if it'll I want to look up that candy what's the name of the candy company? Roottree Candy Company. Mixed in with the recent news of the plane crash, there are a lot of results for Roottree's extremely popular candy products. Their official website is unstable due to traffic it has been receiving. However, you find a direct link to the history section that manages to work momentarily. The Roottree Candy Company was founded by Elias Roottree shortly after he married his wife Gwyneth, whose family owned a small farm called the Anderson Maple Farm. So that means that Gwyneth's original name was Anderson. We'll be looking her up here in a second. The product that put them on the map were 5 pieces, maple candies with 5 different flavors that are dipped in crispy, crackly candy coating. Since then, they have branched out to countless other products, all of which incorporate maple in some way. Their sister company, simply titled Root, specializes in children's clothing. The primary models for Root are the Roottree sisters. Okay, hold on one second. Gwyneth Anderson. You find some information on a website for the first Anderson Maple Farm. There are a few pictures, including a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth. That photo was added to your evidence. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Roottree was Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers, so as the oldest sister, she was to inherit the Anderson Maple Farm, so long as she married. Before Elias took over, the farm produced only syrup. It was supposedly Elias's idea to create candy instead. Their success was not immediate until they decided to combine the maple with other flavors. This led to 5 pieces, which are still found in stores to this day. Although the Roottree Candy Company expanded well beyond their original farm, it has been preserved as a tourist attraction. According to their website, there are still daily demonstrations and educational tours that show off many of the turn-of-the-century appliances that Gwyneth would have used as a housewife in the early 1900s. So you'll note that Gwyneth is not an only child. She just has no brothers. Okay. So what would we say would his profession be? Let's take a look here. What evidence do I have? Oh. Here we go. Oh, they look happy. This is a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth Roottree. It was taken in 1909 after they founded the Roottree Candy Company, but before it was a success. From what you found searching the internet, it seems quite difficult to find any site about Elias or Gwyneth that isn't occupied by this picture, that isn't accompanied by this picture. Elias and Gwyneth are on the notable Roottrees list in your evidence that we marked on the chart with a star. All right. Let's go up. All right, here we go. All right, so this is Gwyneth Anderson. Here we go. Hold on. Well, there's several Elias Roottrees. I assume he's the original Elias, but we'll confirm. Let's see. Elias C. Roottree. What is, does it list his middle name? It does not. Let me see if I can find this article. Family Man, The Roottree Legacy by Bess Williams. What was it again? Family Man, The Roottree Legacy. Okay. An old book about Elias Roottree. There is no downloadable version because the book is impossible to find these days. Okay. I guess we could just go ahead and say that his original name is... What would the occupation be? CEO. He was a founder, though. He wasn't CEO. I don't know. I don't know what we would say for his... I don't know what to say for his occupation. Probably president? Would it be president? Yeah. I guess maybe first president? But she was co-founder. I don't know what her title would be. And then they had 5 kids. So I need to find out who their 5 kids are. What were the, hold on one second. What were the, no. Carl Roottree, Elias and Gwyneth Roottree. Gwen Roottree. Alright. You find some information on a website about old films that are not yet available on VHS. This site is not very well organized and the search is broken, but you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Gwen Roottree was a somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 1950s. She often appeared in tabloids, especially around the time of her highly publicized divorce. Her biggest role was the minor hit film Guys Like Us. She left Hollywood after the flop of Christmas Mission. There is a widely circulated picture of Gwen from behind the scenes on one of her movies, which you've added to evidence. Did you know Gwen was the granddaughter of Elias Roottree? She shouldn't have been named Roottree, but her father took her mother's famous name. Okay, this is important. So, she is... What this tells me is Gwen is the daughter of Elias. So not one of his sons, his daughter. So of the 5 kids he had, one was a daughter, and that was Gwen's mother. And Gwen's father took the mother's last name. So... that's an important detail. We just have to figure out who her mother was. All right, let's see what the picture looks like. Oh, she's very pretty. You've seen it on multiple websites. All right. She's very pretty. What does it show? Because here's the 5. Okay. All 5 kids were married. They all had offspring. Okay. So that's important to know. Let's see. What else? No. Alright. Let's look up Red Roottree. Who is Red? Oh. You find information on a website about strange historical facts. Aloysius? Aloysius? Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Harry Roottree, aka Red, was an appointed judge and politician who earned his nickname ironically because he was the ambassador to Ireland for only about 6 days. Okay. He served what some people contend is the shortest term in history. A few days after he was appointed, he was heard disparaging his position and the Irish people. Wow. He then tried to run for state senate. He claimed to be related to the Roottree Candy Company in a newspaper ad, but it came out that the last name was merely a coincidence. It was defeated in a landslide. So he's not actually related. Okay, so he was not really a Roottree. Okay. What am I? Oh, Riot Girl. Okay, why am I looking at this? Go back here. Thank you. Okay. So let's take a looky here. Oh, they put a red herring. Get it? Cute. Jim Roottree. Jim Roottree. James Roottrees is a singer who sings in the duo Jim and Diamond with his wife Diamond Leroy. The duo, according to many sources you find, is considered a one-hit wonder due to their disco song "Rollin' On Down to the City." It's now in your evidence folder. Although Jim writes the majority of the songs, plays the guitar, and often sings, Diamond is considered by fans to be the band's lead singer. The band never had another hit, but has its fans who refer to themselves as Diamond's Dazzlers. The rest of their music is more folksy and acoustic than the one song they were known for. That's why they're a one-hit wonder. If your biggest song, and look, there's nothing wrong with musicians doing something different, or there's many examples where a musician will do a song as kind of just a fun, something different, or they just were having some fun or whatever, and then that song becomes a hit. The problem is that whatever song becomes a hit, that's what people are expecting. They want more of that, So if you do if your hit song is disco, they expect disco. So if you do a bunch of folk songs, which is about as far away from disco as you can get, you're not going to, at least not with that crowd. You know what I mean? So, you could still, they could have still had folk hits, but it wouldn't, Jim and Diamond have continued to release music through the 80s and early 90s. Other albums you find mentioned are Cherry Tree and Sound of Laughter. Jim has become a bit of a recluse, and he hasn't made a public appearance since 1996. Okay. So, let's mark that down. So, we've got Jim Roottree, and his wife, Diamond. So, okay. So, I say Jim is more the musician, and Diamond's the singer. Nothing wrong with either of those. I'm just saying, that's if I had to put their professions down. So disco, I'm assuming that it was the 70s that they had their hit. Okay. All right, let's take a look. Oh, I thought I had pictures. Maybe not. Why? What? Oh! Here we go. I need to take pictures. Although those are probably not the best pictures to have. As seen in only the... Gosh, I can't read that. Can I... There we go. As seen in only the great-grandson of Elias Roottree could make disco this sweet. Okay, so he's the great-grandson. It didn't mention kids, so I assume they didn't have kids. See, like, what screams folk duo? It's probably a fun song. Rolling On Down the City was barely a top 20 hit for a few weeks in 1979. According to the liner notes, it satirized how a part of society was content to remain indifferent to economic inflation and civil unrest in the Middle East, unless pop culture tricked them into caring. Somewhat ironically, listeners didn't seem to pay attention to the lyrics enough to trick them into caring. Instead, most of its play came from roller discos. Because it was such a product of its time, it doesn't get much play anymore, even on stations that play oldies. Maybe that's why you've never heard of it before now. This image is from an auction for a sealed copy. It has a sticker that says, "Only the great-grandson of Elias Roottree could make disco this sweet." It is credited to Peter Janowitz from MMM. Music and lyrics by Jim Roottree. Vocals by Jim Roottree and Diamond Leroy. Jim Roottree is on the notable Rootrees list, and your evidence will be marked on the chart with a star. The lyrics of the song contain no clues. Lyrics. I'm not going to read all that, but yeah. Okay, I get it. So they wanted to be like more like they wanted to do serious music, and this was kind of meant to be, as I said, irony. Okay. Yeah. It's not the first time that's happened. Peter Janowitz. I wonder if I know he's not a Roottree, but he might have some more information. Oh, am I spelling it right? Peter Janowitz seems to be a music critic. You find him mentioned on a Fab website about a band unrelated to the Rootrees. He used to work for Modern Music Monthly. Could I find some about him on periodicals? Modern Music Monthly. Modern Music Monthly has played host to many Roottree advertisements over the years for many of their products, including 5 pieces. They flood the results. A review and interview from 1979 titled "A Reluctant Hitmaker, Jim Goes into His First Band." Until a few years ago, Diamond and I were in C&J and J&D with my cousin and his ex. So that's Jim and Diamond. C&J. C&J. Cousin and ex. Clark never knew his father, so our grandpop insisted he spend time with my dad and me. So C&J is Clark. Clark. So our grandpop insisted he spend time with my dad and me. As a result, Clark and I grew up like brothers. Diamond and Jane, on the other hand, are actually sisters. So the 4 of us had sort of a cutesy family band thing going on. Not our finest hour, regardless. With Diamond worked in on When Diamond walked in on Clark in bed with her younger sister, everything exploded. No more family band. Her youngest sister. Okay, so she has two sisters. Two sisters. The only thing Clark and I had in common was music, but even then we never agreed on what it should be. He was always more interested in catchy tunes. Something you hum a week later. I've been told rolling is like that, but that wasn't my goal. When he called me up and said he liked it, I took it as a sign I was going in the wrong direction musically. That made him laugh, but I'm trying to make art. I don't mind saying any of this because he'd agreed. He'd agree. For most of the decade, he was a mess, but he's a lot happier now. He started Raffer Tunes. Okay, so Clark. Raffer Tunes. And he's a much better jingle writer than songwriter. One of the benefits of our famous family is a massive company willing to be a client. That's also how my father was connected to Roottree. All of his old ad campaigns were hung on the walls over the record player, but I was never interested. I just went straight for music. For the music, I guess Clark was paying more attention. Oh my gosh, there's just so much information right here. Okay, so we've got Clark and Jane and Jim and Diamond. Clark is Jim's cousin. Jane and Diamond sisters plus one sister. Okay. And then Clark and Jane are divorced. Okay. All right. That is a lot. Let's see what it says about Raffer Tunes. Okay. Let's see what I can find out about Raffer Tunes. A website about Raffer Tunes, Clark Rafferty LeRoy's advertising firm. On it, there is an About page, and you find a picture labeled the inspiration for the famous Super Bowl ad campaign. Below that is more detail. Clark was in a department store getting a family portrait with his wife and children, and when his wife was trying to get his youngest, Katrina, to calm down for the picture, he had the idea for the Roottrees Super Bowl ad. The photo is now in your evidence. Okay. Leroy. Who was Leroy? Diamond Leroy. Clark Rafferty Leroy. Clark. Oh, wait a second. I thought, well, they did say it was a cousin. So it looks like he took his wife's name as well. Daughter Katrina. Okay. Here we go. That's Clark. That would be Jane. And one of these girls, that's probably Katrina. Okay. You found the photo on the Raffer Tunes website. It was labeled the inspiration for the famous ad campaign. Clark was in a department store while his wife was trying to get Katrina, his youngest, to calm down. What, he would be a cousin. Cousin with Jim. So I'd have to figure out who which side Jim's on. Gosh. I have to find the first five. I have to figure out who the kids are before I can even... Oh, I bet this is it. 'Cause, well, no, wait. Here's some X's here, too. Mmm. No. Oh, I bet it's this one. 'Cause there's two kids. Oh, there's also this one. Oh, maybe it's this one. There's two kids right here. I bet it's this one. But I can't mark it yet until I'm 100%. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we are at my hour mark. Let's bookmark it for now. Let's see. How do I save? Oh, here. All right. So we've got it saved. All right, guys. I'm going to clean up my notes. And then when we come back, we'll do a little bit more digging. This is fun. This is fun. I'm kind of all over the place just because I like to follow my lines of thought. But yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah, let me go edit this and upload it. Yeah, guys, hit that like button, subscribe so you get notifications of when I upload more for the Roottrees Are Dead. I'm very excited. I don't know. It's when there's a new mystery. I don't know. I'm having a good time. We'll see. But thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Y'all have a great day. Yeah, it does feel kind of empty without there being music in the background, but I can't listen to that jazz stuff. I can't. Next video, y'all should play whatever music you want in the background, so you're not like just... Yeah, also I'm a little stuffy because I'm still trying to get rid of this congestion. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Mwah. Have a good one.